and gentlemen, welcome in on a very special episode, a very special week of Take This, a sports podcast hosted by two white guys. Big shocker there. But we are two white guys from the state of Michigan, and this is a big week in the state of Michigan for college football. We have the interstate rivalry, the backyard brawl, big brother versus little brother, Michigan versus Michigan State. Kickoff at noon this weekend, East Lansing. It's gonna be a fight. Now, all jokes aside, like the little brother comment, which, by the way, I hate Mike Hart for making that comment because that was just fuel for Michigan State to whoop Michigan's ass for the last decade since he made the comment. But, you know, it's rivalry week. We like to poke fun because at the end of the day, this is all for fun, right? Sports is about having a good time. But all the, little quips and jokes aside, Brad, we're going to be talking about this game, and that's going to be our big thing this week. We got a few, we obviously got Who You Got a little later, and we're going to talk about some other Big Ten teams and the World Series a little bit. But this is our bread and butter this week. So, Brad, with all that being said, how are you doing? How excited are you for this game?
Oh my God, I am so excited. I think what's interesting is oh my God, it is exciting. What's interesting is how good of a game that I think it will be. Every time I think that because it's not often that Michigan and Michigan State are both great when the game happens. Usually Michigan when Michigan was obviously just kicking Michigan State's ass, a decade or so ago. Michigan State wasn't great, and even in the last few years, Michigan State hasn't been good. Michigan's been good, and then but define good, but you know what I mean. But and then when Michigan State kicked ass in in the last decade, 2010 or 2008 to 2015, Michigan State won a handful of those games, and that was Michigan's down years, So I think it's really it's interesting. I think that these two teams haven't been even in a while. This game is very much like a toss-up, it seems like. But I think it'll be very low scoring, low key, very, very low scoring, because both teams depend on the run. Michigan more so than Michigan State though,
100%.
Way more.
And I'll talk about that in a little bit.
But I think because I was reading something too, and I was and I remember saying this. I remember tweeting this actually, and talking about how I don't understand how any team hasn't figured Michigan out, given them a little bit more run for their money, right? I know you tweeted or you texted me at one point during the Michigan Northwestern game, and you were thinking that Michigan was on upset alert because of I think the beginning of the game, the way things were going, and I sat there thinking about it, and I was no way that Northwestern is competent enough to pull that off. Some teams just actually are, because I saw that a little bit with the Kansas game. I was there's a lot more an upset factor with that, but I think that it's surprising that Michigan hasn't almost lost a game yet. They've struggled, but they've figured it out. They've figured something out. Whereas with there's some games you get a sense where with Michigan State, for example, they almost lost to Nebraska and they won on a special teams play. That hasn't happened to Michigan yet. Michigan State has come close to losing more than Michigan has. But I still think that it's surprising to me that Michigan hasn't been figured out more, because all you got to do is take away the run, make Cade pass the ball, and that's it,
Yeah, I think it's so to take a step back, I'm pulling this up right now. I think I'm trying to find. Here we go. The records. So here is the results from the last set of Michigan versus MSU games. All-time record, which I don't really care about, but I'll mention it, is 71, 37, and 5. But I don't really care about anything in like the early pre-World War II. Black people weren't allowed to play at that point. I don't care that Michigan
put some
beat
sort of context behind that.
Yeah, I don't care that Michigan beat Michigan State in 1947, 55-0, because who the fuck?
Or like, look at this game. 1902.
Yeah.
119-0. What is that? What kind of game is that at that point? This game, 1908, tie. You
By
know
the
what
way,
the score was?
that is
0-0.
That is only half of the that 119. That's only half of the largest points scored in a football game. 222-0 there's a great John Boys video on that. I'm getting aside from myself. I don't care about the overall record. If you're looking at, we'll say like mid-90s and later, I think Michigan still has a slight edge, although it's very close, because that's when both schools started to really get involved. Excuse me. But looking at let's look at the last decade, shall we? Going back to 2000, we'll go back to 2010. We have 7 Michigan wins, or Michigan State wins, and only 4 Michigan wins. Michigan State has owned Michigan, whether it was D'Antonio or it was, or now with Mel Tucker having one of those wins. Obviously, the last 2 years haven't really mattered due to the fact that it's, last year was a COVID year. I'm not taking anything away from Tucker. We shouldn't have gotten beaten in that game. But COVID year was weird. And then the 2 years before that, Michigan's wins. Again, a win's a win, but they were against a falling Michigan State team, if we're being honest. So 2015 obviously being the trouble with the snap year. So to talk about that, just to set things up, and I'm also looking at there's some notable games. Like in 2013, Michigan had negative 48 rush yards. That's when we had Devin Gardner, which was crazy to have negative 14. 2015, trouble with the snap. And did you know, Brad, in 2017, that was the first and only night game to ever occur in this rivalry?
Yeah. I mean, well, Michigan State and Michigan haven't played night games until recently, right? I know, like, Michigan State, what they used to do is they used to bring into Spartan Stadium, they would bring in the lights. Like, when they first started doing night games, like, they would bring in the lights from what's it called? Like, they would bring them in like from outside, and like, and then they would install them and then take them down afterwards. And then they finally got like a permanent night setup. But then Michigan hadn't played night games until like 2011, and that was like the game. I think I remember watching like Tate Forcier come back against Notre Dame. Like, that was a big game.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I think. I think sort of like move things into this year. Obviously, this matchup is, 2 top 10 teams. They're undefeated. Something's got to give. And I think this game is very close. So like to talk about some of the hype around it, we have College Game Day, Fox Big Noon Kickoff, and Barstool are all heading up to East Lansing. Like, we are going to be packed with pregame coverage for this game. It's going to be kind of insane. Like, let's be real. It's going to be it's going to be huge. It's going to be the probably biggest game of the weekend. ESPN's probably pissed because they picked OSU Penn State for the 3:30 slot. And that game ended up becoming a dud due to the fact that Penn State has James Franklin as a head coach. We'll talk about him in a bit. But this game has all the hype, and deservingly so. I think as Michigan sports fans, we haven't had to get something like this in a while, and I think that, to finally have something exciting and fun for us in the sports world again, is a well-needed thing for sports fans in the Michigan area, specifically in the Metro Detroit region. So Brad, let's dive into it. I'll tell you, here's what Michigan's going to do well, and here's my concerns, right? Here's what they're going to do well. They have a great offensive line. And that offensive line is going to be the reason they can probably maintain the run game longer than Michigan State. I'll talk about Michigan State's O-line in a minute, but right now, like, their offensive line is good. It is probably the running backs are great, but the offensive line is probably what makes them so powerful in their run game. So that is probably their best position group going into the game. They also have a very strong D-line. Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to be a first-round pick, probably in the top 10. He's been great. He's got the measurables. He's got the stats to back it up. He's got some really nice other edge rushers and linebackers as a supporting cast for him. It's a good D-line that's going to give the Spartan offensive line some issues. Now, and then obviously, our running backs, Corum and Hassan Haskins, very good running backs. No one is questioning that. Now, here's my two biggest concerns, right? We got Cade McNamara as our quarterback. Cade is the definition of a game manager, right? He is a guy who he's going to make the safe play. He's going to do things, he's not going to throw a lot of interceptions, but when you need him to make a big play, to hit a long pass, he has struggled to do that. He has not been good with the deep ball. He has not been good with, hitting those receivers on a deep seam. And these are things where if Michigan State takes away your run game, which is very possible that they do, and you have to fall back on him, that's not good. I think worst case scenario for Michigan is if Michigan State jumps out to an early lead, let's say they're up by a possession, maybe two, going into either the halftime or even middle of the second quarter, and they need to start, taking the top off the defense and throwing the ball downfield. I think Michigan will be in some serious trouble there. And then on top of that, the fact that our corners are suspect, to say the least. I think Michigan State's receivers are very good. They are one of the best receiving cores in the Big Ten, if not all of college football. So when Michigan State wants to start throwing the football, they're going to be able to a lot easier than Michigan will. So that's kind of my initial, at least for Michigan's side, of what they need to do. The best case scenario for Michigan, I think this game is very important, the first two possessions for each team. If Michigan can score on the first two possessions and either be up, tied, or within only, let's say 3 points, that's huge, because by that point, let's say the first quarter's over, they'll be able to keep running the ball, and by being given the option to keep running the ball, the game script allowing for that, I think that's going to be better for their success, for their chance of success in this game.
I was trying to look over this too, and so first off, there's one thing you wrote in the notes here, and you say Michigan State, one of the things, they got a bad offensive line. Their offensive line is not it's not great, but it's pretty good. One thing I know that one of the reasons why Kenneth Walker III has been so successful is because they have a very deep. I think one guy, I can't remember for sure, or if this is even accurate, but I remember I think one guy got injured, and what happened for it was a game or something like that, and what happened was they had some guys step up, and they had I don't know, a few guys get over, what was it, Payton Thorne threw for a bunch of yards, Kenneth Walker III, ran for a bunch of yards, and they had a couple guys with over 100 yards receiving. It was pretty wild. And they even had, linebacker Cal Halliday come out, and that was one thing that really showed me the depth of the team was when Halliday was suspended for like the first half on a targeting penalty that was very like, let's just put it this way, not great. Like, it did not look like it was targeting. As it does. But there's no way to reverse that type of stuff because the NCAA is just like, we trust our refs to make those decisions.
Yeah.
So anyway, they really showed the depth of the linebacker position, even though he was out. But even when he came back, you just noticed like a lot of depth. So obviously he's a very important piece. So the one thing I wanted to mention though about on offense, big pro for Michigan State here is specifically with Payton Thorne and Kenneth Walker. Now, a lot of people, I remember I was listening to this one podcast today, and they were asking does Kenneth Walker need like a certain yards per like rushing yards for Michigan State to have a good chance to win. And I don't think that's true.
No, I agree. I don't think they
yards per carry is important.
I agree there. I think if he rushes for 26 yards or 26 carries for like 138 yards, like sometimes you need to do the basics, right? Like Kenneth Walker's been very flashy, but I need to see Michigan State, I think, do some of those basics correctly. I mean, let's be honest, right. and this is not to say Michigan hasn't, but Michigan State has had some scary games against Indiana and Nebraska. Like, there's Spartan fans I know who said they probably should have lost to Nebraska, but they found a way to win, and that's, a win's a win at the end of the day. But like some of that was from just bad play, bad running, bad just basics. So like
my biggest concern for Michigan State is that they haven't played a full game. They have not played a good full game.
I could argue Michigan. Well, I guess they played a full game against Wisconsin. That was pretty close to as a full game performance as you could probably get.
But like for a team that's 7-0, that's kind of crazy. Like I don't think that, and this is whatever, but I don't think that Michigan or Michigan State are top 10 teams. And I know that again, like obviously rankings are rankings, and they're 7-0. But like.
Well, are you saying like so by the end of the year you don't think either one will be in the top 10?
I don't think that overall these are two top 10 teams.
I just don't know if I could name
grade them.
I don't know if I could name 10 teams better than each of like them both of them.
I mean I guess because I know we'll get into like our Big Ten like power rankings and stuff, and obviously it's hard to not put like Michigan and Michigan State second and third just because they've shown to be better than Iowa, better than Minnesota, better than Wisconsin, better than Purdue, better than like all these other schools in the Big Ten, because the Big Ten has shown that they aren't that great this year. Even though the Big Ten commissioners out here like, we are one of the best conferences in football. Like, show it then. But my biggest concern for Michigan State though is that they haven't played a full game. But I will say that their offense specifically is their biggest weapon in this game, and I'm specifically talking about Payton Thorne. So there is one thing that I noticed specifically in an interview that Payton Thorne had done, and what this was is it was after he'd thrown an interception in the red zone against Indiana, and the person was drawing some conclusions after asking him questions about I think Graham Couch, he does stuff for the Lansing State Journal, but he was talking about how when you talk to Payton Thorne, like there's a sense of like, this guy knows about football, right? Like, he understands. Like, I mean, if you watch him,
football IQ.
His pre-snap is one of the best in the game. Like, he just knows where to put people, what's going on. Like, he just knows what to do. And obviously, it's the execution that that matters, right? He threw an interception against Indiana, and he had like some sort of like, if you just talked to him, like he had a sense of like what he did wrong, who he should have thrown it to, he broke the play down. Like, this is what happened. This is what like I should have done better. And not a lot of college quarterbacks can do that. Like, that is like NFL play. Like, I think that he is already on the level of like starting backup, or not starting. I'm sorry. Starting and backup, that's an oxymoron. I think that he's already like backup NFL quarterback material. I think that like he'll only get better. Like, obviously he's just a sophomore, but I feel like he has the potential to raise his ceiling and be a starting QB in the NFL. Like, I mean, I'm not talking like great QB, but like he has like to be given a chance. I think that that's where his play is right now. And I think that he's specifically a threat for Michigan State because of Kenneth Walker III, because not only is Payton Thorne like smart, but Payton Thorne has one of the best running backs obviously, most rushing yards in the country, Kenneth Walker III, right? So once Payton Thorne's play and his, I think, impressiveness so far sort of feeds off of that play action, because Michigan's going to be covering the run. And if they can get the run, like if they're getting like 3, 4, 5 yards per carry, like that is going to be dangerous, because then they can open up the passing game. And that's when the flea flicker comes in, which they have like the most like touchdowns off of the flea flicker this year.
Oh, we're gonna see some. We're gonna see like over like 2.5 trick plays from each team. Like, I think Michigan State themselves might do 3.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I was thinking about it. I would not be surprised if this game is scoreless in the fourth quarter. And that sounds like really, really radical to say. But I mean, I would not be surprised. Like, I have on here right now, I have my score prediction as 14-10 Michigan State. I think that this game could easily be like 7-3 or 6-3.
See, here's the thing.
That would not be a good game.
Like, but I think it's going to be low scoring because both teams are going to be very committed to running the football.
Right.
But like, I actually want to check the weather in East Lansing too.
It's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be nice.
Saturday, there is low chances. Oh yeah, by the time the game starts, very low chances of rain, 50s, a little cloudy, but nothing. It shouldn't affect play. Like rain typically causes the football to be ran a lot more as well.
Right.
So I think this game is, both teams are going to be committed to running the football. But the thing is, I think when Michigan State wants to, they're going to be able to just let it rip down the field. And like I said, I think with their receiving talent, I think with Payton Thorne's ability to throw the football, it's going to give them that chance. So with all that being said, like, I think when push comes to shove, I think that passing advantage is going to be the thing that allows State to prevail in this game. Now, I still have Michigan winning just because I'm a fan of them. I'm going to pick them to win. Because I do think this game, at the end of the day, it's a toss-up. It's a coin flip. I don't think either team wins by 2 scores. I think it's going to be close and intense right down to the very end. Also, the Red Wings just won in overtime.
Oh,
hell yeah,
good.
dude.
Perfect.
Larkin, dude. I'm wearing,
really? Oh, my God.
Wearing the jersey,
so
too. Oh,
love
snipe.
that.
I mean, 3-on-3 hockey. I love it. Anyway.
I wanted to say this, though, too. I think, like, when you talk about, like, between Michigan, I mean, obviously Twitter's not a great place to be for this kind of stuff, but like, you talk to some of the people, and I feel like, and I'm trying to make this as unbiased as possible, but if I were Michigan, I would be nervous. But here's the thing.
I think,
Michigan State, it's like this isn't really a must win for Mel Tucker. Like, yeah, it'd be great to win, but the pressure's on Michigan because you got a coach in year 7 who, if he loses this game, dude's 3-4 against your most basic rival as a team. Like, that is unacceptable if you are the University of Michigan. And I mean, like, I'm not saying that Michigan State should not have expectations, but like, I mean, Mel Tucker's in his 2nd year, and he's already got a chance to beat the team's biggest rival in year 2. You know what I mean? Like, and that's twice. And I know it's like COVID, so like, I don't.
But
really
here's
count
the thing, though. If he
win.
does beat him this year, I mean, he gets to say he's 2-0 against his rivals.
Right.
And
Well,
Harbaugh
and he'd be the first one.
Drops down.
The only other coach to beat Michigan in their Michigan State coach to beat Michigan both twice. Actually, I'm sorry, there hasn't been. Nick Saban is the only coach at Michigan State to beat Michigan in their first year.
Yep. No, I think like I've seen this argument, like local sports radio here, like this has been a topic. Like Michigan can act cocky, but like you got to be horrified because this game is going to be close. And like even though I think these teams are very similar, it's because of where each team is in their program as to why it's scary for Michigan. Harbaugh's in year 7.
Yeah. And I
Tucker's
think it's
in
weird.
Tucker's in year 2, which is really year 1.5 because of COVID.
Yeah. Right. And I think it's weird though too because like it's a road game, like on the road for Michigan, and that is not
Harbaugh's strong suit.
It's not a thing that they're good at. Top 10 team on the road. Like, how many games has Harbaugh played versus how many games has Harbaugh lost in those situations?
Well, and this is why I think that Wisconsin game was so important for them to win, because they were road dogs, and he finally won on the road as a dog.
Right.
He's got to do it again.
And they are not an underdog in his game.
No, they're not. But I'm saying it is a road. It is a road game.
It is a road game. And
I know, like, listen,
team.
statistically, yes, it will not be. Statistically, it will not be a road dog win. But I think to go on this, if Harbaugh wins this, I will give him credit. Like, this is a big game, and it's.
Yeah.
I think, but the reason why I think Michigan State is playing with house money, and the reason why Michigan is not is, again, Tucker's in year 2. He had, like, I think year 4 is when you can really evaluate a college head coach because he's had 4 years of recruiting. Everyone on the team is guys he recruited, right? Harbaugh's in year 7, So, like, to be this far along and to lose to a guy who's in year 2, like, yes, I understand Michigan State's played much higher above anyone's expectations, but you have to beat him because, man, he would be what would his overall record be against Michigan State at that point?
It'd be 3-4
if he loses. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. I think because right now he's 3-3. Like, that in and of itself too is not acceptable. Like, Michigan's not a team that's supposed to be 500.
3-3 is because he lost last year too.
Well, exactly. And Michigan State was 2-3 before that.
Yeah, it's
so it's not looking great. So like just in that fact alone, like Jim Harbaugh's got to step it up, and they gotta like I don't think that 11 and anything below 11-1 for Michigan right now, I don't think is acceptable.
Yep.
Like, I would not accept another loss after this. I would not accept a loss here until you get to Ohio State. And I think next year is when you beat Ohio State. If Jim Harbaugh loses to Michigan State, loses to Ohio State, game over. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bud. Get out. Like, and I know you got JJ coming up. I know you got that.
He won't. But that's the thing. He probably won't, even if he loses to both rivals this year. But let's say those are his only losses. He goes 10-2. He probably isn't gone. But I don't know if that's what I want. But I could almost live with it again if JJ starts next year. Fine. But I do think for me to keep fans satisfied, you got to beat at least one. Got to beat Michigan State because you're probably not beating Ohio State because. You know how I was saying Ohio State looked rough early in the year? Well, they fucking figured it out because they're pretty good. So, so that's the game. Final predictions, Brad. I did talk. I think the one thing I didn't talk about was Michigan State's offensive line. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's definitely subpar at times. And I think
it can be.
That will be the
And
thing. Like, it'll be the pass
Yeah, I
rush
mean, it hasn't looked
and
good in the last
defending the
couple
run.
games.
I think Michigan's defense can definitely. I think
Yeah, I
Michigan's
mean, when compared
defense
to
can,
the D line, yeah, it's not the best. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think that earlier in the season it was better because I know in the last game, what were they playing? It wasn't Indiana, was it? Where they and Payton Thorne felt a lot of pressure, and I think that Payton Thorne has been good, but not in games where the run has been taken away, or in games when he's felt a lot of pressure. But because once that happens, he gets kind of frazzled, But I think if Payton Thorne is putting on his A game right now, I think that Michigan State has an easy win. And I don't mean that lightly. I really think that this dude has it potential. He is just I don't know. There's something you see with him watching replay, watching video on him. Just when he goes through his pre-snap motions and figures it out, and you see a big play. You look up any big play from Payton Thorne, I guarantee that you'll see something where he either isolates a receiver, sees what the defense is doing, something along those lines of he's moving this guy to be here just for him to end up 40, 50 yards down the road.
yeah.
It's crazy to me because it's weird to see a QB who's this young, who just has so much knowledge about what's going on.
Yep. All right, Brad. It's time to put the ink to paper. Let's lay it down the line here. What is the final score? Who's winning in East Lansing?
I mean, honestly, and this is, by the way, for the record, this is only if Cade is in the full game, okay? I think it's 14-10 Michigan State, and I did a lot of thinking about this, and this is the best answer I could come up with. I think that if Cade is in this game, and mark my words, okay? It'll be 14-10 Michigan State if Cade is the guy the whole game. I think that I would not be surprised if JJ comes in at one point. And if JJ comes in, I got 17-14 Michigan.
All right. 17.
Straight up. But right now, I don't think that'll happen because I really, I think that something's got to go terribly wrong for JJ to come in. It's got to be.
Aside from his, design
where,
run plays.
Cade looks, if Cade looks like a disaster, I think that JJ is a permanent fixture in this offense.
See, I think he's still just going to come in unless Cade throws 3 picks or something.
And that's what I'm thinking. He's got to be you got to be in some really hot water if Cade doesn't come in, not moving the ball. If it's 14-3 at the half, then yeah, I think you got to put. I don't know if I would trust Cade to come back in that situation.
I just don't see Harbaugh doing it. I don't think he'd take that chance. But I think we'll just see JJ come in on his design run plays. So Michigan State will know. Michigan State knows exactly what to do. It's a run play because it's always a read option because he doesn't let JJ throw the fucking ball when he brings him in on those weird packages.
It's hard because I'd like to think that Jim Harbaugh's smarter than that, right? Because in the past, he seems he really has some feel for what JJ McCarthy is.
Yeah,
he knows that JJ's good, right? So it seems like if he really believes in someone, if he knows when to give them the reins, he just gives them to him, like he did with Shea Patterson. Or maybe he's just terrible at discovering talent. He just hasn't had. He's been tone deaf this whole time. Yep.
So my final score. I'm rooting for entertainment. So I'm going to say 21-17, so at least the game's not super fucking boring. I'm going to say 21-17 Michigan, but I could totally see it being 21-17 Michigan State. I'm just picking Michigan because they're the team I like.
It's a toss-up.
It literally is a toss-up. I really do not think.
Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't know I just actually want to see, what is the spread of this game?
It's -4 Michigan State.
You mean -4 Michigan? I assume Michigan's the favorite, right?
Yeah, Michigan is the favorite, my bad. It's -4 Michigan. Which,
again, I don't think that is a good indicator because...
No.
That's simply because Michigan has the larger fan base, and so therefore more money is going to be put on them, so you have to adjust the odds to reflect that. That's all that is. I think if you look at this game objectively and not looking at it from like the actual betting perspective, the line should be a pick 'em. Like, that is how close this game's going to be. So I'm picking Michigan. And again, this is not part of our Who You Got segment because this game's just too personal. And honestly, I wouldn't want to pick it because it is going to be that close, and I'm very nervous. But we're gonna see. And hopefully, by the time you're hearing me next Thursday, everyone, I'm a very happy man. So we will see. So Brad, with all that being said, let's move on to the Big Ten power rankings, shall we?
Yeah.
Top 5.
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit about Northwestern and Rutgers.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. So if you really wanted to come here for wild, go Cats. Find a different podcast, unfortunately.
So let's start with number 5. So I want to just go ahead with what you got. Who do you got at number 5?
So I want to preface this by saying the difference between number 5 and number 4 is staggering. I almost wanted to put Penn State here but the reason I didn't, James Franklin is a boob. Okay? He's an idiot. And it's a shame because there's some good talent on that Penn State team. But James Franklin, do you know what he said in a press conference earlier this week? He said, "We're preparing for our trip to the Big House this weekend." They're going to the Horseshoe. They're going against Ohio State. That is not the Big House. And then he later said, "Yeah, we're prepared. We're not overlooking Indiana, which was the team, or which is a team he has either already faced or doesn't face for like a week and a half, or for like 2 weeks." So between that, his awful coaching in the 9 overtime game against Illinois, and the fact that he let go of his current agent and signed with, I forget the agent's name, but basically he's the agent for like 12 of the 14 SEC coaches. James Franklin's leaving Penn State after this season. And for that reason, I think this team is going to implode. And honestly, Michigan State and Michigan should very well probably beat Penn State now, with Sean Clifford being injured and James Franklin having a foot out the door. So just my little rant on Penn State and why they're not in the top 5. But number 5 is Wisconsin. This was tough. Honestly, this could be Wisconsin or Minnesota. They're both fighting Iowa for that Big Ten West spot and to go to Indy. And Wisconsin, I think, Graham Mertz is obviously an issue, but I think a lot of the other factors on that team make them pretty darn good. So number 5, I got Wisconsin.
So this is going to seem like a cop-out, but honestly, so the only reason I did not put Wisconsin here, they're like a close 6, is simply because I feel like their quality of losses may be better, but they haven't shown that they can rise above, you know? Like, they beat Illinois 24-zip on the road, and they beat a shouldn't have been ranked Purdue team. And Wisconsin has shown that they're kind of on the upswing. So this, honestly, you could put this as tied for 5th place. Wisconsin and I would say Minnesota. Minnesota mainly is here because of their strength of schedule. I think that Minnesota has a strong chance, actually, to win the Big Ten West. And this isn't to say that they will, because I still think that this is kind of Iowa's conference to lose. I think that it is their trip to the title is theirs to lose. Iowa, all they play next really is they play Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Nebraska, none of which are currently ranked. Minnesota could be ranked with a win after Wisconsin, but I don't think that they would be. I think that it would take a couple more to win. But still, Minnesota's strength of schedule is relatively easy. Like they've lost twice, but one was to Ohio State, right? They just got that out of the way. Bowling Green, not great, but outside of that, like they beat Maryland, Nebraska, Purdue 2013, Colorado 30-zip. I mean, and the Purdue game too was like a week before, or like a couple weeks before Purdue went and spanked Iowa. So, it's not like this team is bad. I feel like they've also not really shown anyone anything. But if they could sneak out a win against Iowa, I really think that they could turn their season around. And I think for a more optimistic approach, I put them at 5.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That is fair. And then our lists are identical from here on out, because how the hell could they not be? Number 4, I got Iowa. The only reason they're probably not higher, they are probably better than Michigan and Michigan State, but right now Michigan and Michigan State have the record, and
to prove it, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this weekend one of those teams will lose, and depending on how they lose,
fair.
I think I think this top 5 stays the same. It just depends on that 2 through 4 slot is going to be what changes.
Right.
So.
And neither of them play Iowa, so they might not ever play Iowa
unless they go to the Big Ten title game.
Well, yeah, but I don't think nobody's getting past Ohio State this year.
Yes, yeah. So I have 3 and 2 is Michigan State and Michigan. Honestly, these could be swapped. You want to say Michigan State's higher than Michigan? I don't care. This is a tie as far as I'm concerned, and this weekend is the. This weekend's the rubber match, or not the rubber match, but the prove it game. And whoever wins this is going to cement themselves in as the number 2, and whoever loses, depending on how bad the loss is, goes down to 3 or 4. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I couldn't honestly agree more. Like, I have Michigan up. I think that I don't even consider this a tie, to be honest. I think that Michigan has the edge. I think that Michigan has more talent. Whether or not they can actually execute and transfer said talent into results is the question, as it always is.
Yeah.
So, and again, like, this is coming from someone who lives in East Lansing, Michigan State. I think that Michigan is a better and more talented team, but whether or not they can actually win against Michigan State is really the question. And again, like you mentioned, whoever wins will be number 2. Whoever loses will go down to maybe it'll be 3 if it's a close loss. I mean, I don't know. Like, they could be 4. I would put Iowa above them, but still, it's going to be a close game. Could be even. But that's that on that, really.
Yep. And then obviously number 1, it's Ohio State.
Yeah. When I was filling these in for the show notes, I put space for you to leave your things. I just put Ohio State at the top because I was like, this dude's not stupid. He can figure it out.
Actually, Michigan's better.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
There probably be some people who think Ohio State is trash.
I'm not
do that.
high on opiates.
Yeah, I mean, God, there are some people who are like, Ohio State sucks. I mean, it's probably because they couldn't cover the spread on some stupid bet they made.
I mean, probably.
A lot of the rage, I feel like, on Twitter specifically is just betting related. People are just pissed because, Ohio State couldn't cover a spread, 85 on whoever the hell they were playing.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I think that pretty well covers it.
Ohio State's an 18.5 point favorite against Penn State. What the hell? How bad do you got to be an 18.5 point favorite?
Yeah, and that just tells you how bad Penn State has fallen.
I mean, really.
So, Brad, let's take a quick break. That's the power rankings. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to do our Who You Got Pick segment, wrap a little bit about some World Series action, and then wrap it up with the fantasy recap. Spoiler alert, we swept the weekend. All that and more after this. All right, Brad, let's recap who you got. Brad, not a great weekend for you. I'm going to be honest with you. No. You 0-4 in the NFL games, and only one correct pick in your college games. But with all that said, you were still...
Was that the Pittsburgh game that I got right?
The Pitt game over Clemson, which was a good pick.
Didn't Oklahoma State cover? They didn't cover.
No, because they were the favorites. Wait.
Were they the favorites?
Hold on. No, Iowa State was the favorite, and Oklahoma State did cover. Brad, I was incorrect. You had 2 points this weekend. All right. Sorry, I promise I'm not trying to cheat the man.
Because that was the easy game that I had picked.
That's right.
That was the easy one.
All right.
Because I was like, no way in hell that Iowa State, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it just seemed like no way that they win by more than 7.
I had a great weekend with college and a weekend football. I didn't go 0-4. I went 1-4. I picked the Saints to win. They won. Mm-hmm. Alvin Kamara won me my fantasy league. Great weekend. But yeah, I got all 3 of my college picks right. I was right about Minnesota and Wisconsin playing hard, and Oregon not only covered the spread, they beat UCLA outright. And Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm so excited to see you in Honolulu Blue next season, my friend.
You know, we were both wrong, by the way, about that Broncos-Browns game.
Well, here's the thing.
Pulled that out.
Here's the thing. One, D'Ernest Johnson turned into a god. Dude plays hard, and I went against him in fantasy. I was shitting my pants. But also, like, the Broncos don't have a great defense, and don't have it. Like, they have good defensive pieces. They just didn't play very well, and their offense stalls a lot. Like, and I don't think it's Teddy touchdown, man. I love Teddy Two Gloves, but and he's not a great quarterback, but he's serviceable. He's better than what he's showing. I think it's Vic Fangio and whoever their offensive coordinator is. I forget his name. Broncos offensive Pat Shurmur, who former head coach of the New York Giants. Yeah, that's all you need to hear for that. God-awful offensive play calling, and for that reason, I think that hurt the Broncos a lot. So, lesson learned, Case Keenum, baby. He's he did exactly what he had to do, and he got the Browns to win. Well, you can't ask for much more. So, moving into this week, Brad, who you got?
So, fun news. So I have Miami and Pittsburgh. I picked Pittsburgh last week to cover the spread against Clemson. And God, I am becoming a Pittsburgh fan. They are so good this year.
Do you just like, what's his name? Who's their quarterback?
Dude, Kenny Pickett is a beast. He is now I think, and who the hell listens to Mel Kiper Jr.? But, he is now, on one of the top, draft boards. This guy is for real. And it's always those guys that don't seem like they're big names until the very end of college, that end up being, sort of good in the NFL. I think is usually what it turns out to be. But Pittsburgh's number 17 this year. They're a 9.5 favorite against Miami. And I think they're going to cover. I think that they blow the doors off of Miami by 2 touchdowns. So that is where I'm going with that.
No, that's fair. I would have picked that too.
Penn State, number 20 this week after falling a shit ton after losing to Illinois for some fucking reason, the worst game of football I've ever seen in my life. Katie kept asking me to go to bed, and I just was like, fuck off. I'm not going to go. I can't get out of this game. So anyway, I didn't actually say that. I'm sorry. But Penn State's a terrible team. I don't know why I watched that game. I'm going to be honest. But they're going to, Ohio State is an 18.5 point favorite against Penn State, and I think they're going to cover it somehow. It's 3 touchdowns. I'm probably going to be wrong.
Oh, I think
such a bad game.
No, I'll let you finish because I'm also picking that game.
To be fair, it's the first big game that Ohio State has had, and I know in Penn State's not. I think they should have fallen out of the rankings. To be honest, Illinois is not a good team.
It's a ranked opponent, and it's their.
Okay, but Illinois is not a good team. Oh my God. It is so bad. Where is Illinois right now? Did they even get votes? Oh my God.
No way.
Hang on
No.
1 second.
No.
Like, I want to see. Hold on. Where are the where are the rankings? No, they did not. Because to get one vote, you need to be ranked 25th by one person who votes, okay? And obviously like 24th gets you 2 votes, etc. But they didn't even get one. And I think that says a lot because like it's more like determining of like how poorly I think it's more determining of how poorly Penn State played, because after Purdue beat Iowa, people were like, "Holy shit, is Purdue for real?" But nobody thinks that Illinois is for real. They didn't give them any legitimacy in the rankings, so I think that just that alone says that how bad Penn State really is, and losing in 9 overtimes, oh my God. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you do that, to be honest. How you lose by like to the I don't know how bad Illinois is. Yeah. My last game though, I got Wisconsin losing, I actually probably lose to Iowa. Wisconsin's a -3 favorite, which is weird to me. That's why I picked Iowa for this game.
What? I got the sports book up right now. I didn't. That's crazy.
Are you looking at it? Because I looked at it and I was like,
right now.
I didn't understand that one.
They are a 3.5 point favorite. Wow.
And it's weird, isn't it?
It's
like, I don't know how this is.
Again, it's a money thing. There's probably more Wisconsin fans than
is.
Iowa. They're in Camp Randall. It's a huge home field advantage. It's a hard place to play in the Big Ten. And not playing in Iowa itself is an advantage for Wisconsin. And they've played better. And again, maybe it's because both of these teams kind of control their own destiny with the Big Ten West. So
at that point, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, take Iowa. I would also take Iowa because it. Honestly,
I mean, if I would bet on this
if
game,
I was a bettor,
I'd
I'd sprinkle that Iowa money line. Like
because I mean, even on ESPN's FPI, their football power index, they got Iowa winning a 54% chance. Like, it's not.
Yeah, like it's not.
And all they got to do is cover a spread. So I don't know if Vegas knows something that I don't. I mean, there's 2 reasons why I don't usually bet. And one is because Vegas don't know shit. The other one is because Vegas knows shit. Like, it's just so.
Yep.
They know something that I don't. So
they always do, man. They got all the math on their side. That's the way it's set up to be.
And so I don't know how you don't pick Iowa, to be honest.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. All right, my picks for college, anyway. Yeah, Penn State, Ohio State. I mean, I try not to. I typically don't like to pick the same college game, but this is the only other really important matchup this week. And I'm also going Ohio State because James Franklin's got a foot out the door. Sean Clifford is injured, might not even play. Ohio State, James Franklin being like not even paying attention to the fact that they're going against Ohio State. Ryan Day is going to use that for motivation and drive the score up a little more. Ohio State is trying to like get in that top 4 again and prove like, hey, that one loss was a fluke. It's just C.J. Stroud is his second start, and he only lost by 7 at home. Okay, they're still trying to prove like, hey, we're the big dogs of the Big Ten. We belong in the playoff. They're gonna put 55 up on Penn State. So yeah, I got Ohio State. Ole Miss at Auburn. This is a tough one because Ole Miss is pretty consistently meh, and I think Auburn is they are the definition of like boom or bust because of Bo Nix. But it's at Auburn. I think it's homecoming. Maybe it's not homecoming. I thought I saw something that it was, but I think this is like a big game for Auburn in a year where like not much else is going on. And for that reason, I'm going to take Auburn to cover the 2.5. I like that number too. I think that only 2.5 is, there's certain numbers that I view as like the devil's number in sports betting. Like if you see a 4.5, 5.5 point spread, I run from it because those are numbers that are just like There's just something going on. Like Vegas knows something weird going on with that game. So give me Auburn to cover the 2.5. Finally, we got number 1 Georgia going to Florida. Georgia's laying the 14.5 points. I mean, give me Georgia here. I don't think there's a chance in hell this game's close. The only thing that scares me is this is 14.5, but Georgia's defense is so good, and that offense is so potent. I think they easily score enough points here to win by 3 scores. So give me Georgia to cover those points. All right, Brad. We got a slate of NFL games here. I picked some high-impact matchups and some they're kind of duds, but they're like the fun dud, like tank bowls, man. They're my favorite. First, we got Thursday night matchup, Packers at Cardinals. This matchup's lost a little bit of its pizzazz because the Packers had to go into heavy COVID protocols this week, and Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard are not going to be playing for the Packers. So I think for me, the easy answer is Cardinals. They keep that win streak going. But I still think it's going to be a little closer than a lot of people are making out to be. Like the spread on this game is like 6.5 points. I don't know if it'll necessarily be that bad. I think, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He'll keep it close, but I think the Cardinals take the win in this one.
Yeah, I mean, last week, I picked against the Cardinals, and I don't think I'm going to do that again.
Yeah, dude, I think everyone's learned, we got to stop picking against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is. God. I mean, I think that this will be a test for Kyler Murray. But right now, I mean, Arizona, what's their run differential? Isn't it 110? There's no way that I can pick against that right now. So if Arizona's if they play like they've been playing, they go in undefeated in the next week. I don't know how you look at it any other which way. I can't look at this anyway, upways, downways, sideways, whatever the hell. Arizona's run differential right now is 111. They've scored 225. They've given up 114. It's hard to pick against that.
No, I fully agree. So Brad is also taking the Cards. All right. Moving on to the biggest match of the week, the marquee matchup, one we're all going to sit down on Sunday to tune in for. Eagles at Lions, baby. I normally I don't put Detroit on this a lot, but I think this game is worth picking for, and I'll tell you why. But first, Brad, I want to hear your thoughts before I give mine. Well, who you got? Eagles at Lions.
Eagles. Give me the Eagles. Oh my God. I know that this is probably if we're talking about the Lions, this is a winnable game.
Yep.
It's easily a winnable game. But the Lions are not a winnable team. So I am picking against the Lions. And I got to say this real quick. I heard some dude say, pack the Lions up and move them to St. Louis. And honestly, could not agree more. I did not want to unpack a can of worms right there. But God.
No. If anything, send the Texans there. Detroit's at least has history in Detroit. They're not going to move.
That's fair.
This city would riot.
No, they're like an original NFL team.
Exactly.
They're not move.
They're not going to move. I don't want them to move. I want a team to win here that is this team.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it could be like the Browns, where the Browns moved and then came back.
Yeah, but I guess.
Anyway, who you got?
I got the Lions. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm picking the Lions because here's the thing: the Lions are this is a game. If I was betting real money, I wouldn't touch it because the Lions are also a weird team. Because they punch way above. The one game
you bet on, the one game they surprise you.
Well, exactly. They punch well above their weight class. This team, no doubt, plays hard for Dan Campbell, and that's great. And obviously, they played well against the Rams. I know the score, they ended up losing by 2 scores, but they were literally within striking distance of winning that game. And until Jared Goffed.
Right.
But, Dan Campbell threw the kitchen sink at him, and I like it. And other than the 1 4th down play, which I didn't like, take the points to take the lead, when you don't have the personnel to be going for it on 4th and short like that. Especially when you're really trying to get your first win like he so clearly was. But so the things that scare me is that the Lions have had several weeks, like against the Ravens, against the Vikings, and now against the Rams. They played really well. They played close. They lost kind of they had a chance to win it, especially in those Vikings and Ravens games. It got taken away from them right at the end. And then in those preceding weeks against the Bengals and the Bears, they played awful. Like they played really sloppy, poor performance football. And because of that, I'm worried about this week because I'm worried, are they going to repeat that history? They played really well against the Rams, and now they're kind of on the come down, and they're going to be sloppy this week coming out. But I think the Eagles are a beatable team. I think the Eagles have more talent, but the Lions are going to play harder. They're coming to us. You can get Jalen Hurts uncomfortable. The biggest thing is our secondary is a liability, and our offense is, does not have a lot of verticality to it. But I think the other thing is the Lions really want this win because this is the last week before the bye, and to go into the bye winless it's just so hard to do, morale-wise. It's just not going to be good. So I'm going to pick the Lions because I think it's a desperation win. They need to win it. I think Campbell figures out a way to not have that regression after a tough week. So I got the Lions. That'll probably blow up in my face, but I don't care. Drinking the Kool-Aid. All right, Brad.
Aren't you?
We have the big. Not all. I'm critical of the team. I'm very critical of the team. I know they're not winning shit, but still fun. It's football, I mean,
it's fair.
Gotta have a good time with it. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing? I can at least laugh. When they do poorly, I don't get mad. I laugh. I don't even get sad. I'm just of course Goff threw an interception in the end zone. There he is.
There are people who are actually expecting something from Goff. It's have you seen this guy for the last 2 years? How?
There's people that are why aren't they winning more? Oh, I've been patient long enough, not understanding how rebuilds work.
To who the quarterback is. They probably think Stafford's still on the team.
These are the casual fans. They don't care. They're just why can't we go out and win this year? As they just don't get it. They're boobs. Oops. So Brad, we have the AFC North showdown. Steelers at Browns. All right.
Yeah.
Steelers at Browns. Who you got? Why you got them?
Browns.
Yeah.
Easily. I know that Baker Mayfield has not been.
Well, he's hurt. I think he's.
Great.
I don't know if he's playing this week, but
right.
Here's the thing. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair because it doesn't really I think that any QB could tear up Pittsburgh, for some. Well, and I guess even then any defense, it would just stop Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger is holding his own team hostage over what, pride, or what is that? Why is he there other than pride? I don't know. I'd ask him to leave, and I'd put in whoever the heck. Obviously that's not going to happen this week, but there's a reason why. I pick every week on my fantasy team. I try to get the defense that's playing Pittsburgh, because I know that it's going to be an easy 15 points.
Right. Which is fair. And
it's honestly worked out for me pretty,
yeah,
for
pretty well.
Most part.
Absolutely. No, I think. I really think that, I got Browns too. I just think that offense is too much. It can be a dud. And I think, Cleveland's defense is still very good. And I think they've proven that with this offense. I mean, they did well last week against a somewhat decent Denver Broncos defense. And I think the Steelers are probably equivalent in terms of defensive play calling and personnel. And I think they're just going to outscore them. So I take the Browns here. All right, last.
You also put the worst game on this right here. This is the worst game you could have chosen. The Broncos at Washington football team.
Washington football team at Broncos.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. The Denver's the home team. God, this is such a terrible game. Tickets for this game are $59. Oh my God.
That's bad. Yeah.
I mean, next week they're playing Tampa and they go up $50 because a good team is coming in.
Yep.
Or they're playing at a good team, I should say. Oh my God. Tampa, let's look at I never actually look at ticket pricing. Look at this. Every game that Tampa Bay plays is over $90 a ticket, except when they play the fucking Jets, and that's because they're in New York. But oh my God, I would not want to see this game. I would not pay to see this game if they charged me $4.
Which is fair. Which is fair.
But anyway, so you put this on the show sheet, so obviously I gotta pick one or the other. Dude, I don't know. Can both teams can I do a toss up? Can I do a tie?
Flip a coin.
Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny. I got honestly though, God, Broncos probably.
Yeah. I'm Broncos.
I mean, if I'm gonna look at the two teams themselves, Denver has played. My internet won't load. Washington's 2-5. Okay, Denver just played okay against a beat up Browns team. So if I had to go by that alone, I would say Broncos. I don't think that any team outside of Dallas is really good in that whole division. So I don't really, I don't see that any of that happening. But yeah, I don't know. This seems like an easy one, even though they're pretty similar teams, but Washington's so much lower of a you know what I mean? So much lower of a barrier.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I think I pick Broncos. I just think Washington football has a bad their secondary is very weak. I think this hopefully will allow the offense to kind of blossom a little more. Also, they get Jerry Jeudy back on that receiving group. And I think I just think that Taylor Heineke's been fun, and I think that offense is somewhat decent in Washington, but I think the Broncos end up walking away with this one. So, all right. And that is who you got. Brad, let's wrap it up with some fantasy talk, man. I think
we both had pretty good weeks, didn't we?
Yeah, dude, I think so. I think let's see, I'm just pulling up my scores here. Yeah, so last week I had in all three of my leagues I won. One in my 14-man. One in my 10-man, one in my 12-man. 10-man was scary, man. That's the one. It's my fiance's team. We run it together though. She was up by 20 with literally Metcalf left to play. Maybe it was 25, and he literally with all up by 25, DK Metcalf was the only one left on the other person's team, and there's 25, or he scored that touchdown on that first play, and he immediately shot up to 15. So the rest of the game, that was the first quarter, so I'm like, oh my God, we're not going to lose like this, are we? And then DK Metcalf got one other catch the whole game. So we ended up being okay, but it was horrifying.
It's funny too, because after because he had 15 points at the beginning, right? And then all of a sudden he only had 2 receptions the whole game, the rest, So it's not like he was a big part of that, but it was just that big huge fucking touchdown that really I mean, honestly, like it put me ahead. Like, I know you were saying like you wanted him to not do good because of Courtney's team or whatever, but like honestly, after he got those 15 points, like he did enough for me. Like, I mean, I didn't even need him because I won 140 to 107. If I didn't have him, I'd be at 125. Like, I still won by at least I think it's 12.
Yeah, no, you had a great week, and then
or 30 or something.
My 12-man league, which I would say is like my main league, that's the one that I care about the most. Yeah, I won 161 to 128. I mean, I had picked up Tua because Herbert was on the bye. He had a great 4 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara and DeAndre Swift both scored 35 points in my league because we have the bonuses for long touchdowns. And Swift had that 67-yarder. It was huge for me. My receivers are letting me down, though, man. Like, DJ Moore, 13 points. Like, that's just not the level of production. Like, that's not bad, but that's not the level of production I expect from him because, like, he's a guy who should be scoring, he should be getting in the 18 range, with how much volume he should be getting. And hopefully, the Panthers get their shit together. I mean, that was just an ugly game. 30 to 25 loss. Ugh. And Cortland Sutton's the same issue. I'm actually a little worried about Cortland Sutton because now Jerry Jeudy's back on the Broncos. But, he got me 12. It wasn't awful. Wasn't great. Ricky Seals-Jones, I had to pick him up because George Kittle's still in IR, but he did the job. He beat his projection. And then Darrell Williams, I mean, Kansas City had an awful game, so he obviously didn't do anything great. And then defense wins championships. Colts D in that rain game, they got 12 points because of all the turnovers. So a very good week for me, man. And, I think all of our teams, your team and the 3 teams I manage, are all 5-2 heading into the halfway point of the season. It makes me feel good because clearly I know what I'm talking about a little bit.
Well, I mean, I'm just kind of glad that I at least somehow know what I'm doing. What's funny though is that one thing I've noticed, big relevation I've kind of had with fantasy football and stuff is specifically how many people in how many leagues don't care after a certain time.
Yeah, a lot of people, some people give up.
And that's kind of where our league's at right now. If I go to standings, right? So I'm someone who cares, right? I'm 5-2. And I mean some people care and they don't get shit for it.
Yep.
I
think playing the waiver wire is, you got to do it. You got to be active and picking up those guys that are going to help you win. Picking up Darrell Williams was huge for me because I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he's been great as a backup. I'm actually contemplating playing him over Cortland Sutton in my flex.
Right. I'm just trying to find, because where does some people got I want to see how many people played bye weeks. This dude Bobby Cables. What the fuck is his? I don't even know what the hell his name is, to be honest. He sounds like he's a fake guy. He had some beef in our draft chat or whatever. It was actually kind of wild. But anyway, so he played someone on a bye week this week, and then nobody else really.
See, that always pisses me off. Because, it's not fair to everyone else who has to play tough matchups, and you just gave that dude a free win. And I'm not mad at the guy who got the free win, but, you got to play a full lineup. Even if it's, fucking, I don't know.
Those couple points.
If it's a bum backup, I don't care. At least, try.
So, look at this. Real quick. So, Logan. So, I think he gave up on his team. But, he lost this game right here. He's 1-6. He lost this game. What's it called? 92 to 99. Okay, his bench put up 49 points. If he would have put any other running back in, he would have won.
That's rough.
The only player that he could not have played to win would have been Jonnu Smith from New England, tight end. He put up 6.3, but that would not have been enough to win the game. Whereas with he had Elijah Mitchell, who put up 13.5 points. That would have put him over. He had Chubba Hubbard from Carolina who put up 16 points.
Yeah, I mean, backup.
Any of these players would have won the game. And and so it just doesn't make sense to me. Or like how he's got one dude on the IR who is not even injured. Or actually, he's not injured. Michael Gallup from Dallas? Dude's not injured, right?
No.
Or is he? No, I think he just needed space, but then didn't end up using that space. I don't know. I mean, it's weird, too, with waiver wire. Like, I think if a couple guys get the same guy, like, don't they get him? And then you don't get him, but you might get rid of some guy that you would plan on getting rid of. I don't know. But, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it just kind of sucks that some of these guys just gave up. I got a tough matchup ahead. Like the next guy I play is pretty tough. Who did I play this week? Because I think he was playing someone that was on a bye. Maybe not. No, it was this guy, Kareem Hunt. Dude's injured. No reason to have him on the team. You know, like if he would have put in, his bench actually. He doesn't. I don't think that he went to the waiver wire was the issue because he ended up putting. He didn't have anyone to put in. His bench put up 3 points. So next week's gonna be interesting though because I got 4 people on a bye week. I think that I'm set up like pretty good. I want to read you like who I have real quick just to run it down or whatever. So Herbert's back, and then I got Jonathan Taylor. I tried to find. I think I'm gonna find a running back to replace Giovanni Bernard, like you had said, or something like that. Because Kenyon Drake is on a bye week. Latavius Murray is on a bye week.
If you can't, I think was Kenneth Gainwell available, the Philadelphia back?
Yeah, he was. I feel like I wanted him, but then I feel like I took him. But I think what happened was
did someone and probably you have a good record, so someone in the waiver wire order probably snagged him before you could.
And that's what I'm thinking because they did because I was behind on the waiver wire. And I wasn't able to get him because I'm last right now. Like right now I have the last call or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, because you're first in your league. That's what'll happen.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's the thing. But there's no one else to get. Like, who am I gonna get? Sonny Mitchell or
Sony Michel?
Ronald
Yeah,
Jones?
no, he's no good.
Ronald Jones II. Like the best running back right now is D'Ernest Johnson, and he's on waivers.
Oh, if you can wait, you can get D'Ernest.
I don't fucking know.
If you can, I'd get him. I don't think. I'm pretty sure.
You would get him over Giovanni Bernard.
Wait, is Chubb back this week?
I don't fucking know.
If Chubb's back, then no. If Chubb's back from injury, then no. But if he's not back, and D'Ernest would still be a starter, I would play him 100%.
Okay, let's find out where Nick Chubb is. Well, anyway, but so then
I also don't hate the Phillip Lindsay pickup.
Where's he at?
He's low on the list, but with the trade that just happened, he might get more carries. But again, you wouldn't play him this year because
right.
It's a risky play, 100%.
Right. I mean, at this point though, I'll take anyone because I got a dude who's projected at 4.1. I don't think I have much to lose. He's basically dead spot on my roster.
Right.
He's almost as bad as Zach Pascal was the one game.
Amazing.
But but that's the thing. It's hard because now I got everyone on a bye week. Mark Andrews is on a bye week, Sammy Watkins, Latavius Murray, Kenyon Drake, all on bye weeks. I got Tua still on my bench because I was gonna drop him for one of the running backs, and I never did. And then I don't know. I think I was gonna pick up a different defense because I also couldn't get the defense I wanted. Because they play like Atlanta, but I got their Carolina's defense, so it's not that great,
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Sort of thing. I don't know, but anyway.
All right.
I don't know.
So yeah, we're gonna try and keep this rolling, keep the good times happening, and keep these victories coming. I like my chances this week. I'm considering. I have Darrell Williams, and I'm considering trading him as in trying to get a receiver. I'm looking at a guy. I'm like, I could trade you Darrell Williams, and I could pick up Chris Godwin. And I think he'd do it because I think he's pretty desperate. I could have Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, and Mike Williams as my receivers. My only concern with that is when Gronk is back and Antonio Brown is back, Godwin's production is going to go down because there's now more mouths to feed. And I have Swift on a bye week next week. I'd really like to have Darrell Williams as my fill-in guy because I think the move will be I will play Williams next week, and then after that, Edwards-Helaire is back, and I might try to offload Edwards-Helaire. Because at that point, I will have Swift and Kamara. If Swift gets hurt, I have Jamal Williams, so there's the backup. And if Kamara gets hurt, I'm kind of shit out of luck anyway. But I'm probably going to try and pick up, or actually, never mind. Someone already is going to have Mark Ingram, aren't they? Yeah, they do. So if Kamara gets hurt, I'm probably shit out of luck anyway. So that's kind of my thinking. But, we'll continue to update it, and I'm looking forward to, seeing how the rest of the season pans out, man. Just got to, if I get to 10 wins, that's where I'm like, yep, I made the playoffs. So I'm trying to keep this 5-game win streak going. So, all right, Brad. I think that was a great episode, man. I'm looking forward to this Michigan State game this weekend. It's going to be a fight. I'm sure I will be messaging you throughout, and we will be talking. I don't know if we'll be talking. Listen, let's just agree. We're friends at the end of the day. Let's not be too dickish towards it. Like, if Michigan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, like, I'm trying not to. I mean, obviously, like, I don't want to take this, like, seriously, but, like, I don't know. Like, it's exciting. I just want it to be a good game. Like, I just want it, where both teams are like actually like showing up,
Yep. Fully agree. All right, everyone. Brad, do you have anything else you want to say to the people?
Absolutely not. Fuck the people.
Okay. We'll cut that. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the sporting Finanza. Go blue. Brad, go green, go white.
I fucking hate that, by the way. Go green, go white. What is that? Go green. That's it. That's all I want.
By the way, it's going to be a green
white is a neutral color. White is a neutral color. You can't say go white. That's not a thing.
It's just fun for chance because you can say go green, go white. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Yeah, go blue. Enjoy the game. Hopefully the Lions get their first win. Good luck in all of your bets, your parlays. I hope they all hit and you take all of Vegas's money, although it probably won't happen. And don't forget to set your fantasy lineups. Even if you're 1-6, do it. Don't be a dick to the other people in your league. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.